Are you ready, Monarchs fans? It's time for the Old Dominion Football Show with Bruce Rader and Coach Bobby Wilder.
Well, it's not over yet. Old Dominion wraps up its most successful season since moving up to FBS football tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 when the Monarchs host Florida International University at SB Ballard Stadium. Already bowl eligible for the first time in school history, the Monarchs still with a chance to advance to the conference championship game, but to finish the season with 9 wins and a 7-1 conference record, well, that's surely beyond preseason expectations. Or is it? Let's find out. The Old Dominion Football Show starts now. Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Rader, along with head coach Bobby Wilder. Let's start with that, Coach. Talk about being on a roll, 4 wins in a row. You've won 7 of your last 8 games. You're in first place in the East Division behind Western Kentucky. That's some pretty heady stuff.
It is, Bruce, and I think we're going into last week of the regular season because we know we've got a bowl game, which is pretty exciting, with a shot to win the league. If things work out, maybe a shot to host on December 3rd at home for the league championship. It's great to be here, Bruce, and it's really come down to 3 things. Number 1, in the nation in turnover margin right now, we're plus 15, meaning we've taken it away from the opponent 15 times more than they have from us. Our quarterback's thrown 26 touchdown passes and only 3 interceptions, and our defensive line, Bruce, is playing very good football. That's been the key to the success, but Bruce, this is an exciting time right now in Old Dominion football.
And last week you fall behind by, 11 points at halftime.
Yep.
But then another super performance by the guy you just talked about, quarterback David Washington, the Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week, and boom, you beat Florida Atlantic 42-24.
Yeah, tough to win on the road, Bruce. I sensed it last week. We were tired. We're physically tired right now. We've got 32 guys that are nursing injuries, and we got down there and didn't get off to a great start. But David Washington goes 26 for 36, 407 yards, 5 touchdowns. And again, Bruce, I love being this broken record. No turnovers, the way he values the football. And Bruce, this game we put a lot on David with the RPO package, meaning the run-pass option. And what I mean by that, there were plays that as the ball was snapped, he was catching the snap, looking at the secondary and deciding whether he was going to hand off to Lowry or Cox or throw it to the wideouts, and he was so good at that in this football game, in the wideouts with big catches.
Well, and as you mentioned, so everybody really got into the act as far as the offense go. Ray Lowry over 100 yards. Jonathan Duhart, 3 touchdowns? But Zach Pascal, my goodness, he looks like a guy that could be playing in the NFL next year.
Oh, he is. He will be playing, and I'm almost certain he's going to be our first ever draft choice. 9 catches, 178 yards, just a highlight reel catch in this game that put us up, Bruce, 28-21. And you mentioned Fulgham quietly, Bruce. This is shocking, or Duhart. Jonathan Duhart quietly, Bruce, this year is having an unbelievable year. 8 catches, 72 yards. He caught a touchdown pass, the very first one. He broke a tackle. That got us back to 14-10. Lowry and Cox with a combined 264 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. Jeremy Cox, 84-yard touchdown catch where he literally ran over the corner and scored. So we're getting multiple players involved, but Zach Pascal is playing at a high level right now.
Absolutely, and exciting to watch. Okay, so you're down by 11 at halftime. You need to win on the road. It's their senior day, I would assume,
senior day, yeah.
Since it was their last home game. They're on a 2-game winning streak, but you're losing. So what do you tell the guys at halftime to get them fired up to go out in the third quarter?
I sensed it, Bruce, like I said, before the game. I sensed it a little bit during the game where they were just tired. There wasn't the same emotional team. We played with a lot of emotion this year. We've been through so much adversity the last 8 weeks, and we almost are better when there's chaos, when there's something going on. And here we were, chaos, down 21-13. We just missed a field goal. Brad Davis hit the upright on a 38-yarder, so we walk in, we're a little down. And I called them all up, and I said, guys, with a smile on my face, I said, this is where we want to be right now because competitive people love these moments. You're down 8, you're on the road, they've got the momentum, you've missed the field goal, and sure enough, we come out, dominate the second half, outscore them 29-3 to win going away. That's a really proud moment when you see your players respond like that.
Well, it worked.
Yes, it did. They responded.
And the defense, which was great against Southern Miss, great second half against FAU.
Very good, Bruce. In the first quarter, when they scored the 2 touchdowns, they were going as fast as they could go. It was as if there wasn't time on the clock, and they caught us a little off balance. We weren't doing a good job with our gap integrity or our tackling, Bruce, but we stayed the course and came back. And how about this? The first quarter, Bruce, they have 115 yards. The second quarter, they have 90. The third quarter, 51 yards. Our defense completely turned it around in the second half.
And you were a little concerned about the offensive line last week, but they seemed to bounce back as well.
Boy, did they ever. That's been the story of this team. If a unit doesn't play well one week, they come back the next week and they challenge themselves. Bruce, we had 623 yards in this game. We had 1 sack for 3 yards. We had 1 negative 1 yard run. So we had 4 negative yards in 79 plays. When that happens, you got to look at the big boys up front and really compliment them on the job they're doing.
All right, so tomorrow you wrap up your regular season against Florida International. They began the season 0-4. Their coach was fired right after that.
Right.
Beating you guys would make their season.
Bruce, this is an unbelievable story that not a lot of people are talking about because they're 4-7 overall, but they're on their third head coach right now. As you mentioned, they fired a coach after 4 games. Then they got an interim coach for the next 6 games. Now they just named Butch Davis the head coach. So this is the third name the kids have heard. And through it all, Bruce, they're 4-3 in the league. They beat Marshall by almost the same score we did. They beat Florida Atlantic. They beat UTEP. They've won 4 games in the league. They played La Tech and Western Kentucky as tough as anybody else. I'm really proud. I'm not their coach, but I'm proud of the way these players are handling all this adversity. This is going to be a challenge Saturday.
Well, let's just hope that they don't take it out on you. And speaking of the defense, Justice Davila can roam the backfield, and he's a heck of a safety, but can he maneuver his way around Nathan Epstein in the 1-minute drill?
This is a challenge.
Find out next as the Old Dominion Football Show continues.
Welcome back to the Old Dominion Football Show and the 1-minute drill. Justice Davila, the junior safety, joins us this week. Justice, first I have to ask, this is a pretty nice tattoo. Can you explain that to us?
Well, actually, this is a Polynesian tribal tattoo, much like the sauce from Chick-fil-A. Very nice. Inspired by The Rock. He kind of has a similar shoulder thing going on.
If you have a tattoo that was kind of inspired by him, do you have any quotes, any lines from The Rock that you're willing to recite?
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
What The Rock is cooking!
Are we good? Yeah, that was... yeah.
Since he's gone from the rink now to film, what's your favorite Dwayne Johnson movie?
Easily the Fast and Furious series. When he came in, he was clearly a savage, so I love that about him. And the tat was probably out in every scene, so that was also, you know, twins.
If you could meet him, what's the first thing you'd say to him?
Twins. Are we related? Like, who's your tattoo guy? I might know him.
What is the one go-to meal for you?
Awkwardly, the first thing that came to mind was cereal, but we're definitely not going to go with that. Homemade meal, cut up some potatoes, you know, bake them. Much like fries, but I like them crispy, so, you know, go with that. Slice up some chicken, dip them in the breading, let that cook for a little bit.
What is your favorite thing about being a Monarch?
I would have to say the support that we have. You know, we sell our games a lot, and it's pretty rare to walk around with the jersey and the gear we have and not have eyes on us and stuff. So I would definitely say the support we have.
He's a junior, he's a safety, and he might just be related to The Rock. He's Justice Davila, and you can catch him on game days. Justice, say goodbye to the Monarch Nation.
See you, Monarch Nation, on Saturdays. Go Monarchs.
Nice young man, Coach. 2 good years for Justice.
Yeah, JD's special. He's really a special person. So much personality. Bruce, last year was our 3rd leading tackler overall on the team. This year, even having missed 3 games with a shoulder injury, he's back now. Fortunately, he's still our 6th leading tackler. He's a good tackler, really good player, and it's great to have him back right now.
All right. And when we return, Coach Wilder answers questions from you, the fans. It's the Coach's Corner next on the Old Dominion Football Show. Time now for the Coach's Corner. First question, Terry in Norfolk wants to know, Coach, what area on your team has seen the most improvement from week 1 until now?
Well, I'm going to actually say an area, Bruce, that's on the field, the line of scrimmage. That has clearly been the most improvement on our team from last year to this year, where We're starting to look bigger up front. Bruce, you remember a couple years ago, we're playing, the NC States, North Carolinas of the world. That's the height difference. So we're starting to get that, but we're much better up front protecting David Washington in the O-line. And then our defensive line, Bruce, is 23rd in the nation out of 129 teams in what we call havoc plays, meaning sacks, tackles for losses. That's the area that's most improved.
And they'll be even bigger next year?
We're getting taller. Yeah. To answer your question seriously with the players, we're redshirting. We're getting bigger.
Good. Next question. James in Hampton wants to know, FIU has hired Butch Davis, you mentioned that, as its next coach. That's a pretty splashy hire. What does it do for Conference USA's national profile?
Well, I'm excited with the hire, Bruce, and let me tell everybody why. Because of the name. Everybody knows the name Butch Davis from his Miami days. He was coaching with Jimmy Johnson, won a couple Super Bowls with the Cowboys. We need more of that. We need to get some more excitement in the league. We need to get some more coaches doing this with each other. That part of it is going to help the profile of the league, and he's already made an impact in recruiting, Bruce, for their staff. So I'm glad to see it happen. I'm excited for FIU because we need FIU to continue to get better as a program. Since they've joined us from the Sun Belt, they haven't had the success that I think they will have. He's going to make a difference.
And that's big. That Miami market would be big for recruiting for everybody.
No question. That's really going to help them because, Bruce, he recruited really well there when he was with the Hurricanes.
Boy, did he. Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, it's hard to believe. Here we are at the end of the regular season, one game left in either a trip to the conference championship or a bowl game, or both, rather. I'm going to ask you again. I know you're focused on tomorrow's game, but any idea on where the Monarchs could be playing next month?
Yeah, it's starting to sort itself out a little bit, Bruce, particularly with what happened last week. And as you know, that whoever wins the conference championship gets first choice. Whoever finished second or loses that game gets a second choice. So if we don't play in the game, we're going to be the third selection. So it's Western Kentucky, La Tech. They pick first, depending on what they want. Could be New Orleans, Bruce. Could be the Bahamas, could be Hawaii. And the other thing, Bruce, the fans got to keep their eye on. If the Power 5 conferences don't fill all their slots, which they may not, now that opens the door to some other bowl games that we could be invited to.
All right. Senior Day tomorrow, Old Dominion wrapping up the regular season at SB Ballard Stadium.
Hard to
Coach,
believe.
Good luck.
Wow. Hard to believe.
Enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll see you next week on the Old Dominion Football Show.